let's review the plot of Aristophanes' play Lysistrata. In the introduction, an Athenian woman named Lysistrata has asked women from throughout Greece to meet her in the marketplace below the Acropolis, the hilltop citadel that's also the temple of Athena. She proposes a sex strike plan, orchestrated by a unified coalition of women to end war between the cities of Greece. In the rising action, the second part of the plan unfurls, which involves a band of older women seizing the treasury stored in the Acropolis. Without money, politicians can't wage war. The women agree to the plan, and Lysistrata barricades herself and the other women, who are regarded as hostages, within the Acropolis. A chorus of old men arrive with wood and burning coals, planning to smoke the rebellious women out. But they're stopped by the arrival of the chorus of old women, who throw urns of water on the old men, putting out their fires. A magistrate arrives with armed guards, prepared to storm the Acropolis to get at its treasury. The women chase away the guards, and Lysistrata engages the magistrate in a debate. She argues that women can use their household management skills to run the country. She adds that women suffer from war more than men because they lose their sons and husbands to warfare and waste their youth waiting for their husbands to return. She and the women send the magistrate away humiliated and return to the Acropolis. The two choruses spar again, with both groups comically stripping naked. After a few days, Lysistrata is having trouble holding the women to their pledge. She produces a fake oracle, a poem that supposedly represents wisdom from the past, suggesting the women should stay the course. They are persuaded, just as a desperate husband comes along to test the sex strike. Meriones' husband, Synesius, begs his wife to come home, or at least sleep with him. She strings him along and ultimately abandons him. A herald arrives from Sparta, trying to conceal his own erection, and in the climax of the play, he and Synesius agree to plead for peace in their respective cities. In the play's falling action, the two choruses make peace with each other and reconcile as a prelude to the wider peace Lysistrata is about to successfully negotiate. She calls on the goddess Reconciliation to grasp the Athenian and Spartan ambassadors by their phalluses and bring them to her. When a peace deal is reached, the play's resolution sees Lysistrata and the women reward the men with a feast inside the Acropolis, and the play ends with everyone coming outside together, feasting, singing, and dancing as they praise the gods. Let's go over the main characters in Lysistrata. The first is the play's namesake, Lysistrata herself. The play's protagonist is a cool-headed strategist, a strong rhetorician, and an articulate spokesperson, not just for women, but for the Greek populace as a whole. In her complex understanding of both domestic and political issues and her vision of a unified Greece, she parallels the goddess Athena, whose temple she and her army of wives occupy. The name Lysistrata means disbander of armies, which reflects her main goal. Aristophanes offers stereotypical portraits of young women in the play, but he portrays Lysistrata as serious-minded and determined. There are actually 3 ways to pronounce her name: Lysistrata, Lysistrata, and Lysistrata. Next is Myrrhine. Flighty, excuse-making, and often late to meetings, Myrrhine comes off as unreliable, as she's reluctant to give up sex and all too eager to drink wine. Myrrhine also is featured in all the scenes that best illustrate the sex strike in action, ably working her husband Synesius into a passion and then abandoning him, showing a demonstration of Lysistrata's plan in action. Aristophanes' audience may have interpreted Myrrhine's actions as typical of women's treachery, but she also represents women's desire to effect social change using the only tools available to most of them during the time: their bodies. Then, there's Synesius. Myrrhine's husband, Synesius, is costumed with an erect phallus when he comes looking for his wife at the Acropolis and begs her to come home. He reveals his desperation not only for sex, but for a return to normalcy, demonstrating the wisdom of Lysistrata's strategy and how it ends up working. Next, there's the magistrate. The magistrate comes to the Acropolis to get money to buy material for the war. He's characterized as a vitriolic, misogynistic, dirty old man who is no match for Lysistrata's skillful arguments. The chorus of old women is another character. These women are smarter and tougher than the chorus of old men, who consistently berate and threaten them. As longtime attendants to the temple of Aphrodite, they enjoy higher social standing than the decrepit old men. They use urns of water as a defense against the chorus of old men and their torches, and they later begin the reconciliation process that reunites the entire chorus. Finally, there's the chorus of old men. The old men, a group of retired soldiers, are an aggrieved voice of masculinity. They are enraged that women have taken over the treasury that pays their stipends, which they earn by serving on juries. They approach the Acropolis with wood, coals, and torches to smoke the women out, emblematic of fire as a symbol of male power in the Greek tradition. Really, they're a lot more bark than bite. Let's review the key symbols in Lysistrata. The first is staffs. Props like staffs, walking sticks, and spears can symbolize power or weakness. Lysistrata's chorus of old men use walking sticks to help convey their decrepit condition. But Aristophanes and other comic dramatists weren't shy about the use of phallic imagery. The male characters in Lysistrata probably wore prop phalluses throughout the play. Staffs, swords, and so on could also be phallic symbols of male power. For instance, Lysistrata's women complain about men who walk around the marketplace fully armed with spears. They suggest this over-the-top martial display is ridiculous in the context of buying figs. When the magistrate accuses the herald of hiding an erection under his cloak, the herald lies and says the protrusion is a Spartan herald's stick. In each of these cases, the phallic imagery makes the men look not powerful, but ridiculous. Bowls and wine are also symbols. Women's power is a strong force in Lysistrata. Not only do the women take over the treasury, but they also appropriate and transform symbols of male martial power into feminine symbols. Shields, helmets, and blood are replaced with bowls and jugs of wine. The first time bowls and wine make their appearance, the women are considering sealing their vows of chastity with a blood sacrifice and a shield. Instead, the women swear on a bowl of wine. By replacing the shield with a similar, yet different object, a bowl, the women usurp and transform a symbol of male power. Later in the play, a female character adopts and transforms another male symbol of power. One Athenian woman hides a soldier's helmet under her garment. Lysistrata correctly suspects she does so to simulate pregnancy. The woman's ridiculous excuse is that she plans to use the helmet as a bowl in which to give birth, a nest, as it were. What better symbol of female fertility? The Acropolis is another significant symbol. The Acropolis, sometimes referred to in Lysistrata as the Citadel, is a 7-acre hilltop complex the Greek statesman Pericles developed during Athens' Golden Age. The Acropolis' centerpiece, called the Parthenon, is an enormous temple of the female goddess Athena. And the Parthenon served as a vault as well. Money collected from Athens' allies and intended for their protection was stored there. So although the Acropolis has always symbolized Athenian culture, in Lysistrata, it also symbolizes the city's financial power. The Acropolis' Temple of Athena symbolizes what was considered ideal for a household in Athens. The Citadel was home to the high priestess of the city's cult of Athena, its most honored religious institution, along with her all-female staff. Let's review the central themes in Lysistrata. The first is determination. Lysistrata, the play's protagonist, shows impressive resolve as she bargains with the wavering women. She first convinces the women, with great difficulty, to swear an oath on a jug of wine. As the sex strike wears on, she must repeatedly beg, threaten, and cajole the women to keep them going. Even more impressive is her resolve in the face of threats from the magistrate. While he menaces her with insults and threats of violence, she presents cogent reasons for the strike. Lysistrata's defiance of the magistrate is even more remarkable, given that women in ancient Athens had no rights and were not welcome in public places. Speaking with unrelated men, such as the magistrate, was strictly forbidden. That Lysistrata sets aside fear to take a brave stand against war is a testament to her determination. Another theme is femininity versus masculinity. In ancient Athens, masculinity and femininity are defined in opposition to each other. Manhood was defined by what womanhood was not, and vice versa. As a matter of fact, anything women could do automatically was considered less valuable than tasks that were the sole domain of men. That's why when Lysistrata compares the task of governing to women's work, she threatens the very meaning of manhood in Athens for the fragile male egos in charge. It may be the threat women pose to masculinity, rather than their withholding of sex, that really drives warring parties to the negotiating table. Another key theme is civil disobedience. Lysistrata's mission has the hallmarks of a campaign of civil disobedience. Disenfranchised women band together and defy laws and norms to bring about a political change, the end of war. They mount a sex strike and seize the treasury, bringing their husbands to their knees and depriving warmongers of military funding. Though collective action helps the women achieve their purpose, they return to their politically powerless roles as part of the bargain.